If you like our content about training, then you'll love our programming too. Head to the notes below to grab a free week of general physical preparation. You get unlimited access to me and fresh programming every single week for less than $1 a day.
All right, we're not doing intros, are we? We kind of slip in and out of that pattern, but we've got to sort of commit to the bit. So me and Jacob going to Bali, and I'm leaving in 8 days. Jacob's leaving in 9 days. So that's very exciting. It's also my 32nd birthday. I'm fully doing my 30s, which I'm fine with that. I sort of got over that sort of quarter life crisis. There's a bit more than that. But yeah, so surf trip for the birthday, but also the classic Angus work trip. I mean, that's the thing. I made a rule at the start of the year that I was only doing surf trips this year. I was allowed to do work on my surf trips, but I was not allowed to do an explicit work trip other than the tour of Australia. So like an international one. And we're on the 3rd surf trip of the year. So we've absolutely stuck to the goal. So that's been really, really productive on that front as far as just setting that boundary. But then obviously bringing Jacob, so that's a big step for the business. And I really feel like, this trip, it really is about setting up phase 2 of general physical preparation as a brand and a company. Like, obviously, we've already made a bunch of shifts in terms of the content, or really just sort of upping the ante, but also broadening it in terms of the platforms and stuff like that, putting much more of a focus on long form content. Because obviously, like, we've talked so much about how the podcast is a big part of the plans as far as like something that's an important part of the business and a way for us to connect with our audience, but then also longer form video content and stuff like that, which has also then led to, I feel like that increased pressure to then improve the quality of the podcast, because then we had to put that on YouTube as well. But something, it hasn't been lagging. This is the thing. I was really critical of this myself this week because I've just been reflecting on my customer journeys a lot and just my entire business model. And this has obviously been prompted by me writing out my entire philosophy on business and content creation in that ebook. It just prompted a few things. I was like, I'm not even fully adhering to my own principles and my systems. I just had this instant hit of imposter syndrome. But I was like, no, hold on. My audience has grown so much at quite a fast pace. Like, of course, my customer journey, it's going to be an iterative process as the business sort of grows. So I've got to give myself a little bit of grace there. But that's sort of the whole point of this trip, like just to actually sort it out and make sure that the customer journeys make sense, not just from a business perspective, but more so in terms of like what is actually useful for the people that find value in our content. Because currently when I reflect on the offering, I don't think we're meeting those needs as well as we could. We need to get really clear, because the challenge in our business is we don't have just one type of person in our audience. And it is so diverse, and that's sort of been the deliberate way I built it from the start. But they do sort ultimately into 2 buckets. Like there's coaches and then there's athletes. And there's overlap even between the coaches and the athletes, but then so there has to be like a training component where we have training products and a customer journey for that, where we've got like, free content, free products, cheap products, medium tier products, and then expensive products for people who really want to buy in and who get a lot more value out of the system. And then separately as well for coaches who want to understand the application more on the coaching level, so just a little bit deeper, but then also adding on the business component to that as well. And again, so what that ebook is, when me and Jacob build this stuff out or like finalize it in Bali, because it's all sort of been in the works for the last, I guess, month or so, then we don't have like a free product for people who are interested in the business side of things. And I'm separating the mentorship. That's been like, that was the biggest rock for me, because obviously the mentorship was such a big part of my income and such a successful product with the business. And it is a really valuable product, but because I just had that one thing, it just muddled up my customer journey. Like I need these clear 2 distinct paths for people to be able to go down. And ultimately it just is like either the athlete or the coach path through the general physical preparation business. Because that's the thing as well, when you, especially early on, my audience, there was so many coaches. And I love that, because I love getting into the weeds and I love being able to have technical conversations. But then there was also this weird feeling. I was like, I'm relatively young in the game. Like I'm an experienced coach. I've been doing it for 10 years now. But in the grand scheme of things, I don't want to like pivot out of the performance side of things, but then it's a different content strategy sort of to attract athletes. And I think that that's something that we achieve a lot better. One, through the podcast and probably the YouTube content, because there's a lot more actual lifting and athletic sports stuff in there. But then also through the GPP page, especially through memes and things like that. So yeah,
we just need to be better athletes.
It's quite a bit, and there's so many moving pieces, and like I said, I don't really hit pause at any point. So obviously, it's sort of in between on these like surf trips and stuff like that, where I don't know. I think the change of environment makes things just feel a little bit quieter. I get to sort of do the work on the business rather than just like the daily tasks that keeps things moving. Because I don't know. There is a fair bit. Just like I don't have any like big tasks to do each day, but there's so many like little things that need to happen to keep things ticking over. That it does just make it hard to do the deep work sometimes. Like that happens in these phases where I get to come up for air on a fucking sweet surf trip.
Yeah, I think as well to attract more athletes, I think I got to start competing in some more shit, not just push pull run. So probably in the next couple months, start to do some sort of event.
Well, you've been training people for how long, and you're already an educator? Like that's what I mean. Like you're going through this, and then like it's nothing that you've done intentionally. Like you're just posting content that you're authentically interested in. You're like, I want to talk about this, and a bunch of experienced coaches want to listen to you, and you obviously, you're deep in. Jacob's fucking deep in the trenches. His experienced as he could be. The amount of time.
Yeah, I try. Yeah, I definitely try. No, like I just sort of had a reflection. It's like, man, I've been around for not a long time, not as long as the big dogs, but like I've been around since like 2021-ish, around then. And like I always say to myself, like, I can talk my shit a little bit online. I can express like I have more than enough things that I've done, like even overqualified for what I'm saying.
Was it 2021 where you did the mentorship and started training with me?
Yeah, so I've been at this. Yeah, I just
and then
put my finger out.
You did 4 years of uni.
Three, yeah.
And then how many continuing education products, like full blown, like mentorship, like 12-weekers, did you consume that year that you did like Jacob did everyone's course? I was like, stop doing continuing.
Yeah. I did yours.
I respected the hell out of it, but I had to step in and just be like, Jacob, like just go train some people.
Yeah.
Which you couldn't have done because again, you dealt with the whole shutdown in Melbourne and stuff.
Yeah, I did Connor Harris's and yours, and then I just did Jamie Smith's just to reignite myself a little bit, just to
good shit.
Yeah, just to reignite, and I did a few like other stuff as well. Bought some programs, buy program, do program, did a bit of that, ran a bit of that phase, and then now we're here, and now I feel like I can just have my voice now. I've had enough, not had enough, but like I think I've done enough to just completely express myself.
Something that I think is important to acknowledge, because people say that you should always be learning, and I agree on a macro level, but I think you need to do it in seasons where it's a focus. Like you can't control when you're going to stumble across a golden piece of information or some new rabbit hole. But generally speaking, I think I always talk about like this concept of toxic white belt mentality. It's surfing the Dunning-Kruger curve. It kills your confidence when you're learning too hard. Oh, sorry, it can. It's different for everyone, but it's something that I've identified in a lot of coaches. And I think it's a symptom of a continuing education hangover. It's too much consuming everyone else's Kool-Aid and not enough just digesting and letting it
developing
distill.
your own.
And that happens naturally when you hit pause on consuming other people's stuff so much and trying to block it out a bit and just focusing on what you're doing with your actual clients.
Yeah, like it's fair enough. You gotta have some base framework that you can develop your own sort of your own coach's eye. But from there, I feel like just using your own experiences, coming up with something different. Like, man, the amount of content that's come up from just training people is insane. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, most of my content these past couple of weeks have just been like what I've been doing with clients, and it's been so much easier than just literally trying to go in online and just trying to find inspiration. That was like fucking painful. So yeah, it's good value just training people. And developing your eye, I guess.
Way less memes lately because obviously I told you to chill on that.
Yeah, fuck, I need to get on that shit.
That was probably a mistake. Yeah. Feel free. You just, create as you please. And then that's the thing. You're going to get the environmental change. Going to Bali. Oh my, you are going to be fucking cooking in this trip.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
It's just change. Yeah. Yeah.
Just got to make sure I don't kill you at Omnia and the juices will be flowing.
Yes, we'll balance. But just to circle back to my original point, I do want to be a bit more competitive with my athletic pursuits in the next couple of months. I know push-pull run's coming around, and just a few more things. So I'll pick an event, I'll do it, I'll post about it, and yeah.
Hell yeah.
Stay tuned.
It's exciting. You're doing so good. You deserve, and that's the thing. So shout out to everyone who pushed for Jacob to get a pay rise. His pay's basically remained static for 12 months. And that's pretty much my fault. But
it's fine. It's fine. It's all good. It's all good. I'm happy to be here.
I was ahead of schedule and then I got complacent and then now I'm behind schedule on developing your revenue streams. And it's also been, we could have generated so much revenue if I was capable of delegating better, because Jack was basically just shitting out memes and stuff like that because I have delegation issues, like which stems back to something that I just brought up, which is something I need to go back to therapy for, because I've really just identified it, and I didn't bring it up in therapy and it didn't come up. I struggle with forgiveness on every level, and that's ultimately what fucks up my ability to delegate. Well, sorry, there's also, I just hate texting cunts and I forget to call Jacob because I've got too much shit going on. So just straight up being in the room with him will help. But something that I'm addressing in my head is like, I'm not forgiving of myself. I'm not forgiving of my parents. I'm just like, yeah. And then, so I don't want to delegate to Jacob because I love him so much, because he's going to fuck up because he's human. But then I'm like, am I going to be able to... I don't want to delegate anything to him where if he does fuck up, that I will have a problem with it until I've done the work. But yeah, ultimately that's holding back the business. So we need to go on a fucking honeymoon to Bali.
I love that you fleshed that out. It's pretty impressive. Not many people go that deep. So we love that.
Hey guys, I hope you're enjoying the episode. I just wanted to take a second to let you know that Angus has poured all of his knowledge on e-commerce and organic content into an ebook, which is now available. If you want to check it out, head to the show notes or the link in Angus's bio. Thanks.
I can't believe I'm admitting this. I don't want to admit it, but I've already got so many points over Atlas in the last couple of weeks, at least from my perspective. It was Atlas's crazy loyalty to knees over toes guy. Regardless of like how you feel about tib raises, like he was just going in on me because I was going in on his mate. And it was that expression of loyalty. I was like, why can't I be that loyal to like my fucking family and like forgive them? Just like put that shit as, who gives a fuck about any of the issues? Like, I don't know. That was literally the catalyst in my brain. And also my brother. So it was actually my brother. God, he knows me. I did so much therapy and I was really open about it. And I feel like I had a good therapist, but that's a huge thing that just didn't come up at all. Just how much I struggle to forgive, like I said, myself and just everyone in general in my life. But yeah, and like I said, like it trickles down. Like it's affected my relationship with my family. It's affected my work. It's obviously affected friendships and like relationships and stuff. And yeah.
Do you really want to be as like blindly loyal as that though? Like,
no, okay. So this was the other thing that I realized. On top of that, like why I need to just get over, because I've got the classic, I don't like calling it trauma, but like middle class family. I had great fucking parents. But and there's just some shit that I can't get over, just little shit. But it just obviously affected me. And it's like, I've realized it is petty now. I do need to get over it. Like they did such a fucking great job. Because I know that, and I say that to people, I just couldn't reconcile it in my head. I didn't realize that I had the forgiveness issues. And sorry, there's been so many events that led to this in hindsight. Because we're in the church, my niece was getting baptized. And I just was thinking about just religion and stuff and how it's helpful for people. Not because of what religion you pick, but I think there's something to be said for just having a higher power in your life.
Yeah.
I put no one on a pedestal above me. I respect people. I'm like, even my parents, I'm willing to tell my parents to get fucked if I disagree with them. Not anymore. Because family loyalty, like because I love them. I love them so much. Obviously, it's complicated. And yeah, I'm so fine with that because I trust them. Like, they're never going to do anything. They've made mistakes, but they're never going to do anything that bad. And their intentions will always be good. And I have full faith in that. And like, dude, even on like, I've never really even had a coach. I don't listen to anyone. And like, I like that. That's a good quality, and it's helped me so much in my life as well. Just telling people. Would you say
like Jamie Smith or anything? Like anyone like that?
I tell Jamie to get fucked. He's just really nice to me, and we get along really well. But if he, like, sorry, yeah, like I look up to him for advice, but like, he's a peer and a mate. Ultimately,
I think it's funny that you are making this correlation between being loyal to someone and not telling them to get fucked.
Just submission. I think there's something to be said of submission. No, it's going to come out somewhere.
I just think it's a bit of. I think it's
a valuable thing to submit to a higher power on some level, whether it's a coach who tells you how to lift weights, or whether it's your religion, or whether it's your parents. And like, some of those things may seem so trivial relative to other things, but it's different for everyone.
Have you found God?
I think it's a valuable thing. Yeah, I guess in my parents, in a certain sense.
Tell them to get fucked.
Nah.
We love that.
No, because that's like, it's just, I don't want to talk about this in case my parents are listening. No, mum listens to the podcast, but my parents are getting old. Like, I'm not going to regret forgiving my parents.
No, like, big time. And that's the whole other thing here is that, like, it seems like this is a fairly new thought process, and like, you're obviously not gonna.
It's new touching it on the podcast. Well, I've sort of talked about that. I went to therapy a couple of years ago on the podcast and did a stint.
Well, I more mean like I'm not saying that
I finally feel like I've had like a bit of it. It's early days.
Yeah, totally. But I guess what I'm saying is, just because you feel this way now, it doesn't mean that is the way you will feel about it completely in like a year. Do you know what I mean? Like, your thoughts can develop and change and shit.
So you're saying it's a phase? I'm going to start hating my parents again.
I'm just saying.
I don't tell my parents to get fucked off. Like, it's just like a. Yeah. Anyway, well, I don't.
No, I'm more just saying that I think there's.
If I painted a hectic picture for everyone, yeah, like I said, it's a pretty functional family, middle class shit.
Yeah, no, I feel you. Amen.
I talked about this recently as well, but whatever. We'll talk about it a little bit more. I want to do more debates on the show because, like, yeah. Also, obviously, what triggered it was the cardio shit show this week. I guess by the time this podcast drops, or maybe the cardio shit show was 2 weeks ago, because I think we got Josh Saunders' episode dropping before this. And I don't think Mike Israetel or Menno Henselmans or BioLane would want to come on the show and debate Alec. Sorry, that's obviously not me doing the debate, but I would love to mediate a debate between Alec and then one of these evidence-based gods that have been talking shit about.
I saw that today.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
But yeah, I was talking about shit. I was talking shit about that tonight on Instagram, which is just an absolute blast, telling people to get fucked on Instagram, one of my favorite hobbies. But I was just like, yeah, I need to get more people on the podcast just to debate them. And I'll get Alec on to mediate as many of them as possible, because I honestly think he does a great job of it. Yeah, I've fully come to terms with the Kasem debate. I need to be honest about it. I was experiencing such severe imposter syndrome that week. Like, I know I always act confident, but yeah, like, my heart was racing the whole time. And that's why it was a shit show. I put him on this pedestal in my head. I was like, I'm debating, like, I don't know, one of the world's apparent leading experts in hypertrophy. Like, how did I get here? And obviously, like, I talked a bunch of shit, like, and whatever. Like, I'm still proud of the whole thing, kind of. But I let people down.
Yeah, to be heavily biased, but also being realistic, I think you did all right.
And I don't know if I'll get another opportunity. I think I've lost that opportunity I was actually thinking about emailing him. I wanted to email about Jamie's been talking more shit about N1. Will you come on my podcast to debate him? I'll even let Alec mediate that. I'll go fully hands off on my own podcast. I'd like to watch.
With who? Debate who?
For Jamie to debate Kasem.
Oh, Jamie, yeah.
That'd be huge.
That would
about
be
the whole
sick.
PRI and
The
one's
people need to see that, man.
At the end of the day, yeah.
The people need to see that. That is, that would be spicy.
But back to my favorite topic, me. So the Atlas debate was just a shakeout. Like, also the Atlas debate, not only did I have ring rust, but I was going through some shit. That was one of the craziest weeks I've had in my life. I had to. Yeah, I was living in a hotel. It was hectic. It was sort of the event. Anyway, so that's why I was stressed out. I still absolutely crushed him, but I can be better than that. You'll notice I was a little bit skittish. I was just, there was so much going on. I can never talk about it. But so the next one, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the next person who comes on the podcast to debate me. Please be Moochie. Moochie, I know you're out there. I don't think he listens.
Oh, that's an easy win, though. That's an easy win for you.
No, yeah, I want to go up against
every argument scripted in your head. Pretty much. Every reel you've made could become just as an argument, huh?
Who's someone legit that I can debate? Because obviously functional patterns, that'd be dumb.
I don't know, without saying just the hugest names.
Say it.
I don't know, like Ben Patrick, Lamau.
Oh, I don't think he'd come on. We'll try.
No, but he's sort of already, the fight's already over, I think. He kind of did this weird...
No, because I will have to put pressure on him to put out more content being like, guys, stop the tip nonsense. That's what I want him to do. That's my end game.
Yeah.
People will say that I should drop it because he apologized, but it's like we're still dealing with the consequences of the online storm that got unleashed.
Are we?
Like this social media Beyblade that won't stop spinning. And it's just hit every fucking corner of social media. It's just like, whatever.
I wanted to say one thing before. That Menso, what is his name? Menso Helsum? Fucking, I don't know. Anyway, I swear there's some coaches that their entire story feed is just reposting his studies and just being like, hey guys, told you so. This is the truth. It's like,
it's utter garbage.
What do we just make a post? Talk about it like that.
Yeah.
Like why are you just reposting his stuff about the most obvious things too? It would be about sleep. Like, hey guys, that's the
collectivism of the evidence-based era. You know, we talk about collectivism, like the whole Coney 2012 phenomenon, where you click a link or you leave a comment, thoughts and prayers, and you feel like you've done something. That's the same. So when you share those little evidence-based posts, you feel like you've read research. You get a little buzz on it, and it's this performance of an evidence-based operator. All the world's stage. It's gross. It makes me sick.
We call that.
Building that
back in my day, when I was doing a bit of BCM 101, I thought it was collectivism.
Maybe it was probably both.
I wasn't doing BCM 101 in 2012. It was probably collectivism before then.
Wait, was I? Yeah, I was.
I would have been doing 300s, man. It's fucking crashing. No, there was always a healthy assortment of ones. Anyway.
So who's BioLane, by the way? I don't know who that is.
Man,
Lane Norton?
So great. Dude, coaches are going to hate you for saying shit like this, and I love it. You don't know who Pollock? Yeah, it's so good. BioLane's like the OG power builder. Because I feel like power building was really birthed by the 3DMJ crew, but as far as the biggest beacon for power building early on, I think it was Lane Norton. So drug-tested powerlifting, natty bodybuilding, and also being one of the early influences to popularize tracking calories, the whole concept calories in, calories out, or macro prescription and stuff like that. So he is a certified legend of the game, but he has really outdated beliefs a couple of quite outdated beliefs on human movement. Like he's a big McGill fixed my back guy. I think he might have recently sort of moved on from those opinions, but yeah, he's just the classic, like anything on flexibility or cardio. It's just the classic, like, cardio kills your gains. Oh my God, anything over a set of 5. Oh my God, it burns. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, so that really resonated with him.
And so he's got such good... Lane Norton has crazy lore. I can't get into the full thing on... Oh, man. How much Lane Norton lore do I want to get into? So do you know who Jason Blaha is? Listeners who do remember will enjoy me just taking him back through memory lane. So Jason Blaha was like this like guy who kind of looks like Kasem when Kasem's not in great shape, but with less hair. But he was taller. And he was into powerlifting. And I think aesthetics as well, but he was in terrible shape and he was open about his steroid use. And that was Lane Norton's early mortal enemy. And Jason Blaha used to have this, like, Jason Blaha is also credited. He started this crazy copy pasta that was like you don't know who you're dealing with. I used to be a Navy SEAL with over 50 confirmed kills. I'm fully trained with like night vision goggles and stuff like that, because that's how he used to call out Lane Norton. But then Lane Norton ended up suing him because I think Jason Blaha said that he wasn't a real doctor. And then Lane Norton proved that he was a real doctor. I better fact check myself on that. But I'm 90% sure that that's what happened.
Doctor in what though?
Lane Norton is a doctor in... That's a good question. We should check. But he's a doctor in like the education. He's not a medical doctor and doesn't claim to be. Oh, he could. I'm not sure. Can we do a quick Google? What is he a doctor in? Like, is it just exercise science or is it something nutrition related? I'm not sure if it's a training or nutrition like doctor thing.
Are you looking at it?
And so Lane Norton, like, man, he's a beast. I'm pretty sure he's won a world natural bodybuilding title in some federation, and he's squatted a world record.
If you're sick of going goblin mode on the same 4 accessory exercises at the end of every single session, head to the notes below and grab our free gymnastics program. It'll change the way you think about accessories forever.
I don't care what he's a doctor in, but he's a doctor, all right? You can't call him not a doctor, otherwise he'll fucking lawyer up.
I can't find Alex's comment.
It was on the mic. It was Mike Israel reshared the Menno post. So that's the thing, yeah. So why Lane Norton's come up is Alec Blennis was correcting the interpretation of the study on Mike Israel's reshare of Menno's post. And then Lane Norton just goes, cry about it? It's like, mate.
Cry.
Because Lane Norton's whole brand is just like, I'm a changed man. I love it when my daughter paints me nails. There's nothing sweeter. Don't make fun of me for being a sensitive man. And he's evidence-based.
Here we go.
And Alec Blennis is making a very valid criticism of an interpretation of the evidence on something that he has an expertise in and a passion for. And he's actually a world record holder in like a cardio-based event. Yeah.
So just context for the YouTube
watchers.
So yeah, he just says cry.
What was Alex's response? Very nice.
I don't know, but you get a bunch of
the thread just popped up.
Yeah, I know.
Alec was really articulate in his response. And Alec was like, I really want to have a proper conversation about this, because people were shitting on Lane. Lane was like, I'm just joking. And everyone's like, yeah, but it's a crap joke. You're an idiot. Like, that's why I hate it when people make a shit joke, no one laughs, and then they dubbed it like, it was a joke. And anyway, sorry. Okay, people.
When he says cry, is he trying to take the piss? Like, what is he saying? Sorry,
he's just like, cry about it. Who gives a fuck? Whereas like Lane Norton's whole career is built on tearing his hair out. Not only if someone says that he's not a real doctor, but if someone misinterprets as like, oh, fucking calories in, calories out isn't the whole thing. He's like, or like, something about some other nuance of nutrition or training. But then if there's like a misinterpretation of a study about that shits on static stretching or something like that, he'd be like, oh, hell yeah, like jacking off to it. Maybe cut that out.
Yeah. Which is it's just that whole thing. It's like whether you very much agree with this or don't agree with it, you can't base so much of your life having spats on the internet with people and then like take the piss out of someone for having an opinion, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this is just someone else expressing their opinion on the internet, which you have done in a
the
public
thing is,
forum.
I don't know why he's trying to be defensive of the article. Like, who's benefiting? How's this benefiting anyone? This study, and who cares as well?
The whole evidence-based thing at a social media level is just a huge fucking circle jerk. It's done.
Yeah. Is this just the new latest study that that's the latest fad, and so you kind of have to have an opinion on it?
No one would have
this shit comes out all the time.
This study, but Menno has a very big account.
Right.
Does Menno train? Does he train?
A lot of people would say my physique is comparable. Make of that what you will.
They're the same people that said your physique was comparable to Atlas's, because I really don't want to dig that whole thing up again. But
no, I think people would be much more accepting of my comparison to Menno. Definitely way more accepting of that than me comparing my physique to Atlas.
Also, how does Menno make money with all these like Instagram carousels? Does he? Oh, he does. He has a course. He has a PT course. Pretty shredded.
Yeah, he definitely got lean.
It's pretty chest veins. That's
wait, no.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. Show the legs.
Okay. Oh, I can't find any.
That's weird.
Where are they?
Yeah, where are the legs?
Hello.
I've seen pics of the legs. There's a shoot on the beach. Go Menno Henselman on the beach. Oh, he's a little baby. Oh, I shouldn't. Sorry, I'll relax.
Well, that was.
Oh wait, come on, show us the calves.
Where are they? I didn't see the calves.
Where are the calves? This is crazy. Where are the calves? Menno,
wait,
where
is
are the
anyone
calves?
on stage? Calves.
The upper's looking stacked, but we're top heavy, man.
Calves?
That's crazy.
Oh.
Nah.
No.
No way. No.
Okay, we've gone too far. I don't know what the fuck this is.
I mean, that's all the evidence I need to see. Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I'm not going to zoom in anymore, but yeah, not bad. Pretty skinny, but shredded.
Right, that's a call out I've ever heard on.
Oh wait, we got more detail. Okay, geez, sorry, we've gone too far. Man, that's a big right left glute. What are we doing? Okay, I'm stopping.
Okay. I need to get in better shape if I'm going to be making calls like that. But wait till I get a tan in Bali. I'll be looking the goods.
Yeah.
Phenomenal shape. Israel Adesanya, what's going on there? Can we talk? Actually, I have a story to share. Okay, there's a public service announcement. You shouldn't gamble. But 20 seconds before the finish, I saw everyone was talking about, I saw all the tweets coming on. People were like, oh, Izzy's looking good, like yada, yada. I was like, I feel like looks like DDP could end this at any moment. I wasn't sure. I was like, also DDP looks like he could fully gas out and just collapse at any moment. But then I heard that the odds were like 4-1 on DDP. So I got my mate to call in a live bet. He literally had to use the phonetic alphabet because the pub was so loud to the guy on the other end of the phone, which I was so impressed that he actually got the bet in. And then as he was putting on the bet, he was like, the odds have gone up to $5.20. Do you still want in? I put $100 on it. And then 20 seconds later, DDP got the finish. Made $500.
You put it on?
Yeah. Well, I didn't put it on. I was like, can anyone do a live bet for me? And one of my degenerate mates was like, absolutely. That's what I mean. He's such a degenerate. The pub was everyone was screaming. The operator couldn't hear him. And he's done that so many times. He just knows the phonetic alphabet.
You can tell he's put on live bets.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Oh, that's the next level of degen if you're putting on live bets consistently.
That's fucked
That's
up.
something that I haven't talked about on the podcast. And I was talking about it with my mate on the surf trip recently. And so I just made a passing comment because I've noticed an upward trend in it, just online betting and online casinos just sponsoring every single content creator. To the point where now even my favorite surfing YouTubers like have gambling, like online casino sponsors. I was like, oh yeah, I wonder like if I'll get to the point, that'll be a good sign if they start hitting me up. They hit me up the next week. I've had 5 online casinos reach out to sponsor the podcast. And I'm assuming like maybe some Instagram content as well. Which, and like, I don't want to be a complete hypocrite because the Hyperformance podcast has historically had a gambling sponsor way back in the day for a short period. But obviously me and Oscar reflected on the relationship because a bunch of our mates are problem gamblers and Australia has the highest household gambling losses per capita per year in the world. So I was just like, seems pretty shitty.
We need that element in the sponsor.
I took it as a compliment because I'm like, well, obviously. But no, I don't think it is a compliment because I think that's just how far it's spread. Like the fact that they're hitting up relatively small fitness creators in the grand scheme of things. Like, and that's the thing. They're making so much fucking money. That's why they're able to sponsor all the biggest creators, like rappers, fighters, all the way down to like surfers, personal trainers. They're trying to get to online casinos. Like it's yeah, I don't know.
Like putting on $1 million like roulette spins, like it's a couple bucks online.
Yeah,
I know that's probably not all his money, but like he's just chucking in like $1 million spins.
It's being glorified so much because online gambling was pretty illegal up until recently, and it's just fucking exploded. Or at least in America, I thought it was been legal in Australia for a while, but then obviously in America, so much gambling in America has recently been legalized. Well, I guess it's mostly online sports betting.
It's all that. It's that Australian guy that's absolutely cleaning up. He's the leader of it all.
Yeah, but even before that, like the Nelk boys have been pushing gambling for ages, dude. Even
that's the guy.
Are you following the Mr. Beast stuff? I thought you were talking about Tim Nucky.
No. There's an Australian guy that runs Stake. It's Stake and Kick.
Oh right.
He's Australian. Yeah, he's absolutely killing it. So that's a win for the Aussies, I guess. But yeah, I have been following the Mr. Beast stuff.
Because even a lot of the accusations leveled at him outside of like a lot of the quite odd stuff, but just the stuff that's happened in front of everyone, just like the competitions for children's and stuff, a lot of them just resemble like pokey machines and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. That's why I don't like, I kind of roll my eyes when a lot of people are like, oh, society's going to shit. But then when it comes to things like that, I'm like, yeah, fuck. Like, there's a bunch of things I'm pretty fucking worried about. Like, just the way the world's going. Just kids getting encouraged to gamble. And also adults. Like, right now, adults. Kids, it's sort of just starting to happen. And, yeah, we need to worry about that. But just the amount of adults that are just throwing their fucking money away. Like, if you're rich, I get it. But, yeah, it's just, going to be hectic. Hopefully, governments will step in and regulate it. Like, and this is the thing, like this, we're getting political on the show today. This is surprising. We're going crazy on the show today. This is something that I want my government to do. Like, usually I'm pretty like, government, stay out of my shit. Let me do what I want. Let's make it harder to online gamble. I think I can live with that.
Yeah, this is a good shout. It's a good shout.
Sorry, thank you for letting me get on my.
I guess when you tell them that, they'll put like a 2-second ad that is at 2x speed saying, gamble responsibly or some shit. That's going to be the plan.
Yeah.
Like, they'll have a 20-second ad of gambling and then 1 second at the end.
If you're an absolute dog, if you have a podcast or something like that and the online casinos hit you up and instead of selling training products, you just start whoring online casinos. So get my guide, save yourself from becoming a whore for online casinos, and learn how to make some good digital products and a proper customer journey.
Just get better. Come on, guys.
Or if you're not making long-form content, get the guide, start making long-form content, build an audience, and still say no to online casinos. Sell your own shit.
Oh, you got a nice long-form section in there, Gus.
Oh, yeah. That's like fucking...
Oh, wow.
25% of the book is on long form content, because again, I think that's one of the big things that I'm talking about that a lot of other content creation coaches aren't really touching. Everyone's just pushing short form content. Everyone's whinging about like, oh, no one's got an attention span anymore. It's just like, no one is. It's just that I guess there's a few more perceived, but there are some more genuine barriers to entry with long form content, especially making YouTube videos and stuff like that. But so many of the ones that actually stop people are just perceived barriers, because it's not really buying a camera and stuff like that. It's just getting off your ass and fucking having the balls to do it. Sorry, I also understand I've built up to it. It's okay if you need to build up to it, but it's also not that big of a deal if you don't make it a big deal.
I heard a nice quote. Sorry, I'm being really, what's that guy's name? The Chris Williamson, this quote machine. But I heard that it's like, even if you like start something small and get low views, no one is watching. So who cares? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, why do you care about being judged? Because you suck. No one is watching. You only get judged when you're big.
Better too, as well, because you can start producing it, and as you build an audience, they will go back through it. Short form content is way less like that. Whereas it's very common for someone to discover your YouTube channel or your podcast, in my experience, and just run the fucking catalog if they like you. So all those videos, you've made a podcast or a video years ago and then increased your following, and the video just gets a whole bunch of viewership in the years after, which that's really cool to me. Because another thing I think that feels unfair, people don't like, is the pace of short form content. Like, you do have to be producing it much more frequently, I think, to have an effective short form content strategy. But the pacing for long form content, in terms of the schedule, it's like one piece of content a week. Some successful YouTube creators, once they establish themselves, they pull back to like one video a month sometimes, or one a fortnight. And like I said, not only do you, I think one a week is a really great schedule when you're starting out and in a building phase, but even that's much more sustainable. And I think it's more fulfilling for people, like I said, because it's a piece of content that at least will be in the zeitgeist for 7 days, but has the potential to last and affect people much longer than that. Which, and I see it all the time. Every now and then we get a really good episode of the podcast with a sick guest, and then we get a huge spike in the back catalogue. I love it.
Do you think long form is sort of starting to almost beat short form? Because didn't YouTube have more viewers and users than Netflix? They surpassed it.
And this is, people are always saying, because it's been around and people have been doing it in front of us for so long, and people are like, oh, it's getting harder and stuff. It's not. It's not actually that competitive when you look at the amount of people who are really giving it a good shake. Where are the people doing GPP content on YouTube?
No one.
Like, I know there's Will Rattel and stuff like that, but who's the guy with the huge fucking channel? Like, you just got to make it, man. Even I was chatting to, shout out to Queer Strength Coach, who was in the previous intake of the mentorship, and that's a big part of his brand identity. Like, just, providing good health and fitness information for the queer community. And I've been pushing him. He's pretty on top of his short form content, and I just think he's got a really great personality, and like, he's just someone I look at. I'm like, you should have a YouTube channel. Like, he's just charismatic guy. He has a really cool life and a good business and stuff like that. He knows his stuff when it comes to training. And I was like, oh, who's the queer strength coach on YouTube? Like, is there anyone that's not that queer people can only go to queer people for strength advice, but it's like, a lot of people will be drawn to someone that they relate to a little bit better. And there are aspects of fitness that change for queer people. I'm sure they'll talk to you about that. And I was like, it's 2024. Surely there's someone like that on YouTube who's like, oh, There's like, there's gay fitness models that are like, trying to plug their OnlyFans and stuff like that, just trying to like, they're doing fitness content, but they're not flogging programs or anything like that. They're not really dishing out that much of us, just working out in front of people and then flogging OnlyFans. And that's a lesson. Again, not everyone listening is suited to be the queer strength coach on YouTube. That's Dan's job. But like I said, even for what I'm trying to do, there's no one doing it. And I know there's an audience for it, because I know I'm not that unique. No one else getting that. Obviously, I do have, we're still competing for attention on a macro level, and like, of people who are into fitness. So it does constrain things to some extent, but I I frequently find myself just trawling through YouTube being like, none of this shit's for me. Looking for something specific.
I think the content that you do, and like, it can both be viewed in a very niche lens, but also you can make content that's applicable for everyone, which is the beauty of the GPP brand, I think.
GPP is very fitness.
You can make literally content about any physical quality, touch other people's niches, but also you back to the core values of this is a niche in itself when you train everything, which is good.
Yeah. And so the reason why long form content works as well from a business perspective, like so much better than short form content. Again, short form content is phenomenal for building an audience, but long form content builds trust and it's the same principle that applies to long form content, short form content, and even the way I got clients face to face in real life. It's building trust over time. And in short form content, the doses are smaller, so you have to do them more frequently, so they build up. But there's an algorithm that can be disruptive to that process. Whereas with long form content, it's harder to get someone to listen to it. But once you've got someone listening to it, they can just get a way bigger dose of just like, either you can build a lot more trust by just not coming across as a fucking psycho, seeming more relatable, like having more common interests, giving them good, valuable advice that improves their training, or just entertaining people. Like all of those things get people closer. Like it's like people become aware of you first, and then they have this opportunity for this value exchange where you can build trust with them, and then they'll probably buy something at a certain point. But there's just a threshold that you have to get them over of trust, and it comes through exposure. And when in your, and again, why it works face to face is it's so easy to have a 10-minute conversation with someone that you see face to face in the gym. And you can probably sign them on the spot because you just got a big 10, and it's face to face. It's easier in real life to build trust and establish a relationship. Whereas again, short form content, it's like you're trying to say something to them. It might not even get to them. And even if you do a good job of it, it's like a 30-second hit at most. Probably like a 10 to 15-second hit. And don't get me wrong, like 6 to 12 months of that gets the job done. But imagine just a big fucking 1-hour podcast, just that's a parasocial relationship right there.
Yeah. We love you, listeners. There we go.
I fucking love. I'm so fucking, because that's the thing. Like I always reflect on the audience I build is a reflection of my values. And I'm always so proud of all the people that I see. Like the average person that interacts with GPP and my page and like this podcast, they're just the sickest cunts. Like it makes it, it's so validating. Same as what I talked about with the seminars and stuff like that. I was really going to judge myself based on the type of coaches that showed up to my seminars, and such a big sigh of relief. I'm like, yes, sick cunts, good coaches, amazing people.
It's a good positive feedback loop right there. Yeah.
And like I said, these are all the things that you can feel and experience if you just fucking, push yourself to make a bit of content. Like I said, it just starts with having a yap on Instagram every day. It's not that serious. I get that it's serious. It can seem serious, but you're making it too serious. The same way that people are like, 100 kilo squat, that sounds like a lot. It's like, no, you're just inexperienced. 100 kilos is fuck all. Like tiny women who are experienced with lifting weights can crush 100 kilo squats. That's posting on Instagram every day. If you take content creation seriously and you put the work in and you have a little bit of guidance, get the ebook, please. It's so easy to just come up with an opinion that's actually valuable, not just for the sake of fucking yapping either. It's like, again, you have a fucking framework. Anyone off the top of their head, surely there's like 4 hot takes you have. That's like, these are the things that you're bitching to people in the staff room about. And then it's like, there's so many different sub-components of that. Like if you're capable of ranting about 4 different subjects of fitness to your mates in the staff room, there's an entire content framework you can build out from that. How many different subjects is what you really talk about? People are like, I'll run out of content. I'm like, no. You're just not iterative. And people are like, I don't want to repeat myself. It's like, you need to. Again, what university, don't look at forget the fitness ideas. Look at what he's doing. He's saying the same things again and again and again because it takes people a while to accept the idea, or maybe they're not even seeing the content. And when we're trying to talk about
I think it's a good way because like you can talk to people about different problems and then just keep talking about the one solution that you love, the solution. And then that in itself doesn't make it repetitive. but it's also telling you like, you just got to do this. You just got to do this, which is the same shit, which is a way
How
to make
many
a difference.
pieces of content did we all see Ben Yanez make on training the lats? Jesus fucking Christ. He is a black belt at content creation. Squat you, black belt in content creation. I don't care how you feel about their training ideas.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it now that you said that. I don't know how the fuck Ben Yanez just talks about, like, it's fresh content, but looking at it now, it's all the same shit.
Iterative. He understands it, I think, innately. I'm not sure. Maybe I haven't really talked to Ben Yanez recently too much about content creation, but every time I do, because especially, like much earlier in the come
up. Dude, I thought this thing would be stale like a year ago, but he's just thriving.
Like, it's crazy. It makes complete sense to me. Because again, he's established a brand. Like, he's not talking about the same exact thing every single day, but like there are things that we over time associate with him because he touches on it, like anchors. But again, there's not just like one piece of content. Oh, have you thought about using anything to create external stability, like leaning against the cable? Like, no, he's been like, I'll show him the tricep. Like, again, he can do a post broadly on the concept of anchors. Maybe it's a carousel with a couple of different examples, some theory and some application. But then he's got just all these reels where he's like, this is how you anchor for the triceps. I mean, sorry, he's doing like 5 different variations over the course of a month or so of different tricep variations using anchors. Then you move on to the biceps. How many muscle groups are there? I mean, that's a whole year's worth of content that I just knocked out for someone. Not fully, but like, again, that's the start. Like when you go around every single muscle group, again, that's probably going 2 in on anchors. But again, we've talked about when you think about it like that, how much you can bore out of one topic, and then how you only really need a couple of core topics to build the strength of brand.
We value your input here at the High Performance Podcast. Head to the SpeakPipe link in the notes below and you can leave us a voicemail where you can ask us a question or leave us a topic for us to explore on the show. We hope to hear from you soon.
You can literally build this machine. You can restructure this machine and then just blast all your information and it'll just come out.
I get triggered when people like, I'll run out of ideas. I'm like, no, you don't understand the process.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people have never done anything creative in their life. And it took me a long time. I was lucky. I've had a lot of life experiences that have obviously culminated in having a bit of a knack for content creation. Again, being in a band for a little bit. Doing a journalism degree. Oh, sorry. I dropped out of my journalism degree, but I did spend 4 years studying journalism.
Yeah.
It helped.
Yeah.
And I just
one last thing.
God, yeah.
I want to talk about this new era of content that, like, in my personal experiences, I make these lovely little CapCut edits with the voiceover. And then it's late at night. I'm in bed. I need to make a content. I grab one training footage, slap a text over it, and it does 2 times better. Like, has Instagram changed? Like,
no.
Do people's attention...
High effort content still does well, but it's just like good content is good content. Like, doesn't matter whether it's short or whether it's long. There are people that make 2 to 3 minute videos on Instagram and get really good interaction. But they will do something either. So once you have an audience that you've built trust in, that you're an entertaining person and worthwhile listening to get valuable information from, you don't have to come in as hot because you're leveraging the trust that you've built. But just initially, like I said, even at the start, you can still make a 60-second reel, but you need to do something early on that just establishes like, I'm going to give you something valuable here. Like, tell them what's coming at the end. Don't leave your punchline to the end. And the hook, obviously, is what a lead is.
That hook,
yeah, you have to do something very early on in the video or in the piece of text that you're writing is like, this is what you're going to get out of this as quickly as possible. Then you can get into what it actually is. Yeah. Once you have got someone's attention, you have so much space to play with. Like, it's just that initial thing of like, hey, like, and like at the start when you're not familiar to people, it's way more about that. Over time, like I said, as people have had more trust in you, even less just people seeing that your post has more interaction. If they've never seen you before, they're like, this person is likely entertaining and valuable to some people. I'll take a chance on watching it. But yeah, at the start, it's like, at the start, you really just have to have this perspective of no one owes me their attention. And producing content from that place will produce the hardest hitting shit. But you still have to give them something valuable. So, but sometimes it doesn't take many words to teach someone something. You can use a lot of words to teach someone something, and sometimes that's appropriate, but you don't have to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm also just trying to just remove filler words and like pointless shit and just keep it concise. So yeah. And I'll look at, hooks are probably a bit more, I think I need to pay attention on as well. So we'll play around with that. Just showing what you'll give. I think that'll be good. Hopefully that was helpful for us.
The hook has to be something. It's a statement where if one of your peers was walking past you in the hallway and they just said it as they were walking past you, you'd pull and be like, wait, what? It doesn't matter what the topic is. There's a way you can say things where someone will be like, fuck that person, just keep walking. Like, I don't give a fuck. Or there's a way you can say the same thing, the same piece of information where they're like, what?
Yep. Just get good at writing, guys.
Because even if you're making videos, you got to be planning it to some extent, and that skill set is still writing. But I think that's another thing that I was really lucky. I've had a lot of opportunities to write, even in an academic context creatively. But a lot of people, the bulk of the writing that they've ever done, same as all the running that they've ever done, was just in high school or even in tertiary education. And like writing for academia, it's a skill and you have to be articulate, but it's just so different. And so that's the thing. I think even people who are pretty intelligent, if you haven't had the explicit reps of just like writing for yourself first and foremost, and like that's how you find your voice. Because a lot of people I think struggle to produce that. Whereas that's something that I thought always sort of came naturally to me, but I'm like, oh no, I've just always been lucky to have the opportunities to do a lot of creative writing, even in the education system. But then also outside of it, I've always enjoyed writing. Do a bit of journaling.
We love that. New health.
So that's if you're looking for opportunities to write, if that resonated with you, just start journaling or something, and it'll lead to better content. Or like I said, just acknowledge that you have to get better at writing somehow.
Yeah, I think like all things in this realm, though, I kind of feel like just quickly what Jacob, when you were saying before about like a post doing like 2 times better than another one that you put way more effort into. Like, I kind of feel like with a lot of this shit, you can't look at it like post by post, day by day. I think you kind of just got to look at it like on a bigger macro thing and be like, okay,
you know what the principle you're touching on here is, Harvey? The middle of the funnel. So, because that's the thing, it's not always about maximizing the engagement and the spread. Sometimes you've got to do a post that's to continue the value exchange, where it's like, this post isn't to gain new followers, because a lot of the stuff that gets the most interaction, that's a post that hopefully you've designed to spread outside and grow your audience. Whereas then you also have to do content deliberately for your existing audience to further along the trust building process, give them more valuable information. Because those are overlapping, but explicitly separate processes. It's like you might do a post that you set out with your intention. It was a middle funnel post, and it just was such a well-delivered, awesome, hot topic post that it does go viral just by happenstance. And you might try to do a top funnel post, and it's a bit too much of an inside joke, and it semi-bombs, and only the real ones like it. But you have to have those clear intentions. And like I said, even going back to, I can't think of ideas for content, that framework of having the top funnel and middle funnel content gives you more of a framework, gets you more content out of the one idea, because you're like, okay, whatever the topic is, I'm going to say something about it that's like quite edgy and maybe a little bit more vapid, lacking the nuance. But then later I'm going to do a post that's for people who already follow me, like going into the weeds a little bit more.
Yeah, totally.
That's a concept, that pre-funnel concept. It applies on like a few different levels. Like even each piece of content has like a top, middle, and bottom funnel sort of aspect to it.
Totally.
And then also on a macro level, your platforms have a top, middle, and bottom funnel sort of thing to them.
Yeah. I think it's just like it kind of resonated with me a little bit. Yeah, it resonated with me a little bit what Jacob was saying, and this might sound like a bizarre comparison, but I guess they're both like running small businesses at like the end of the day. But like I used to work in a retail environment, shall we say, where yeah, like the boss would phone up at the end of every fucking day and be like, what are the figures like? How do we do today? And like, if the figures weren't, like exactly where the target was or what he was thinking, it was like a disaster. And this was like every fucking day. And then, but I feel like everyone who worked there was like, yeah, okay, but how are we doing this month? Or how are we doing this year? How are we doing on the whole? Like, or even, if like on occasion he'd be like, okay, well, today is the 29th of August. How did we do on the 29th of August last year? And you'd be sitting there like, well, the 29th of August last year was a fucking Friday. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, you can't look at it that specifically. You got to look at it as a fucking big picture thing,
No, it's definitely like an ecosystem, but I think the 3 funnels, like I said, it starts to sort of provide that framework for thinking about your content in some sort of ecosystem, more of a pipeline, I guess, into an ecosystem. A clearer way I could have described top funnel and middle funnel content is top funnel content is for people who don't give a fuck about you or maybe don't know about you yet. And like I said, middle funnel content designed for people who already give a fuck about you.
Yeah,
that's just the easiest way to summarize it. That's some other point about the top. Sorry, how it also there's a troubleshooting strategy that you can use again with this lens of the funnel system, like where you need to put more of the emphasis. Because again, if you have good interaction, but then you haven't increased the size of your audience recently, then you will have you should always be doing a combination of top and middle funnel content to have an effective content strategy. But you would bias top funnel if your page isn't growing fast enough or if you have fuck all followers. Whereas my page has grown fucking crazy. So it's like I could shift back to a middle funnel emphasis. I mean, I'm always trying to bias the middle funnel. I'm just after that slow growth because it's the easiest way to maintain your engagement. So yeah. Oh no, what am I saying? I dance with the top funnel a little bit, but GPP you can see much on the general physical preparation Instagram page. You can see a much clearer delineation between the top funnel and middle funnel style content.
Yeah, it's a way more obvious contrast between the two. That's for sure. But would you say for like content like the text on training footage, that's more top funnel for sure, right?
It's pretty top funnel-y.
That is top funnel as it gets in my opinion.
Yeah, true.
It's top funnel. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nah, I've been growing too quick to pretend it's not. Yeah, you got me.
Oh, come on. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, I've been growing a little bit quick. Still got great engagement though.
And you really got to commend people that like just do a bunch of middle funnel and grow sick accounts. Like not me. That doing top funnel is bad. Yeah, like you. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like
you. Actually, can I talk about this as well? I do think so. Part of the reason why I explain the top funnel to people early on is because people aren't patient and they do want faster growth. And I'm like, this is really like a 6-month to 2-year project, like really building out a proper fucking functioning and successful content strategy and online business. But something that has helped me, and it's a mistake I've seen other people make, some people, especially when everyone's like, oh, you should only be doing reels, they had all top funnel, just gaining 10,000 followers a month, fuck all engagement. So many people doing that, and I was just punching out carousels and text
How do you get fuck all engagement even though you get 10K followers a month?
A couple of hundred followers a month and getting sick fucking interaction the whole time. And what that allowed me to do is now I have, again, better funnels and just a better overall business structure where I feel like I can actually take advantage of faster growth in my audience because I have a more established brand and everything just looks a little bit slicker. So I can convert people a little bit quicker now. Early on, when you have a small online presence, it takes longer to establish that trust. And so engagement and keeping people engaged for longer is even more of a requirement because, again, it fuels your engagement, that consistent engagement, but it's also fuels the relationship building process.
Would you say like an example of purely top funnel is like someone like Knees Over Toes, where it's just no nuance, just performing?
I don't want to like fully fillet him about how good his content creation is in terms of like, just like I said, not the training ideas, but being a black belt in content creation. Knees Over Toes guy has done a phenomenal job of melding those two together. But again, he's an excellent communicator. And he definitely, like I said, if you go back through it like early on, and even now, you would be able to separate his content into some sort of top and middle funnel. And I guess that's that platinum content. Every now and then you just hit one straight down the middle of that pipeline. Like you just say some real shit that's actually deep and it still goes viral. But like I said, you'll be a better content creator.
When you get to that level of cloud, it's really hard to identify what's middle and top when you're at that level of cloud.
Because like I said, you have trust, you have an established brand, you don't need to come out swinging as much, you don't need to make up as many things about tip raises.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I also, like, to give him credit, like, the change of scenery and exercise and commentating, that's such a winning formula. Like, it gets the attention span, the cuts, it's, I saw Matt Watson try it. I like that one. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Where he was like...
And this is the thing, because I shit on production value. I'm like, it takes people away from their communication and their ability to just send a message clearly. Like they're too worried about the lighting or the editing or like the shot angle or something like that. Having said that, once you've got your messaging sorted, all of that stuff does elevate it. It's just that people are so distracted by production value early on. And the production value threshold to be successful on social media is much lower. That's one thing I heavily disagree with Jamie Smith on. Jamie Smith is like, you got to have good cameras to sink into the crowd. I'm like, absolutely not.
James Smith.
James Smith.
Oh, James Smith. Okay.
I mean, everyone, a lot of people, I'm one of the only people who pushes low production content as a viable social media strategy. Not so much for long form content. The difference with long form content is people are consuming it for longer. So you should try to have some decent audio quality. You should try to make the shots look a little bit nicer.
Yeah.
That's definitely a difference.
Do what you can with what you got, I guess. Like, don't be absolute dog shit, right? Like,
yes. But understand that the big rock is the message. Yeah. And that any production value should be used to enhance that. And sometimes it can be a distraction. A lot more than you'd think.
Is that why you did the last view from your bed? To not distract from the message?
I think that distracts it more. Would you say?
No, I just meant like go with lo-fi production from your bed to not distract from the message of the podcast.
No, that was just because I was just going through some shit and no days. It's a fucking warrior. Sometimes you can't get out. So I'm the kind of guy where sometimes I can't get out of bed, but I'll still show up to work.
Yeah. Work from home, baby.
Yeah. Oh, it's so
but just
good.
Like one person that I don't think gets enough credit for content creation that just shits on every rule is Sam Sule. Holy fuck. Man just jumped straight into long form and just fucking sat there and just chatted.
You know what his top funnel is?
What?
His physique.
He's rigged. Yeah, I was about to say that.
You can be shit at content creation if you can deadlift world records. Again, it helps to be better at content creation. But yeah, that's the thing. So like there's always a reason. Okay. It might be different factors. And that's the thing. It's like, you can be, some people are sexier. That helps. Some people are funnier. That helps. Some people lean into being serious. Some people are angry.
Yeah.
It's all yeah, but yeah, like I said, if you got some just sheer athletic talent, that's nice. Or a physique.
Yep.
But my physique is testament to the fact that I'm a good content creator and I've got some really mid lifts. So 8 days to Bali, 9 for Jacob. It's gonna be fucking crazy. I mean, we'll be there by the time it comes out. So the water is 28 degrees, Jacob.
Oh,
why are you just rubbing this in? Just fucking rubbing it in.
If you want access to a community of like-minded coaches, head to the notes below and join our free school community. I'm in there every week doing Q&As, and there's plenty of educational content on the way as well.